Hi, second grade friends. Today we are going to play a new game called Cover Up. The way that we're going to play this game is first, you're going to look at all the counters on the screen and tell me how many there are. If you said 16, you are correct. Now I'm going to take away some of the counters and you're going to have to figure out how many I took away. I hid some of the counters. It is your job to figure out how many I hid. How might you do that? One thing you might do is count how many counters are left. So how many do you see? I see 4 here. I see 4 more here. That's 8, 9, 10. So I see that there's 10. I know that I had 16 to start. So 16. Oh no. 16 minus 10 equals, Another way that I could write that is, let me just erase this. Another way that we could solve this, there's lots of different ways, is to say, I know that there's 10 left, and I think you took away 6 because I know that 10 plus 6 equals 16, or 16 minus 6 equals 10. So there's lots of different ways to find out. So let's remove the cover and see if 6 is correct. Oh, they're all bunched together, but it looks like 2, 4, 6 is correct. All right, would you like to play again? I hope you're saying yes. So how many counters do we have in all? If you said we still have 16 counters, you are correct. So now I'm going to take some of the counters away. I hid some of the counters. It is your job to figure out how many I hid. What strategy did you use? And what equation could you write to show how many counters I covered up? Let's check to see if you were correct. Did you say 7 counters? Great job. All right, next we're going to play a game called Get to Zero. And the directions say to play with a partner, but we all know that it's perfectly fine to play against yourself. So, step number 1 for the directions says, before starting this game, make sure you have a copy of the Get to Zero recording sheet. And if you don't have a copy of the recording sheet, you can keep track of your moves on a blank sheet of paper, scratch paper. Second, it says to start, each player drags his or her game piece to the box for 100 on the chart. So you start at 100 and you try to get down to 0. Player 1 rolls the cube by tapping on it. Starting from 100, player 1 drags his or her game piece that many spaces back. Player 1 records on the recording sheet. Record how many you started with, what you rolled, what you have now, and an equation. Player 2 takes a turn and follows the same steps, and you keep taking turns, and the game is over when both game pieces are moved off the board. Subtract the numbers on your recording sheet to make sure that they equal 0. Tap the Start Over button to clear the markers from the 100 chart to play again. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to put my game piece on the 100. I'm going to go ahead and roll, and it says -10. So I'm going to subtract 10, and I know that 100 minus 10, I'm writing it down right now. 100 minus 10 equals 90. All right, player yellow brings their game piece. Ready, go. 5. So I know 100 minus 5 equals 95. Okay, next roll. 15. So 90 minus 15 equals, so this is minus 10, and then this is minus 5. So 90 minus 15 equals 75. Oh, 5 again. 95 minus 5 equals 90. 10. 75 minus 10. Do you hear how I'm writing down my equation? Equals 65. So don't forget to write down your equations because that is an important part of the directions. Record how many you started with, what you rolled, and what you have now. All right, I wonder who's going to win, yellow or red? Let's find out. All right, second grade friends, let's do a problem together to get us ready for our work on pages 512 and 513. And these are called Enough for the Grade. And some schools have more than one second grade class or more than one third grade class. We're really lucky that we are at a school that has one class per grade, I think, but we'll have to talk about that another time. So the question says Southside School has 2 second grades. There are 30 students in Class A. There are 7 fewer students in Class B. How many students are in Class B? So let's stop and think about what this problem is saying. So Class A has Class A has 30 students, right? Ooh, this handwriting. And Class B, there are 7 fewer students in Class B. So I know Class A has more students than Class B. So I would subtract 30 minus 7. And what I do in my head is I break up this 7 into a 5 and a 2 because I know that 30 minus 5 is 25. And then 25 minus 2 equals 23. So if Class A has 30, then Class B has 23 students. How many students are in Class B? 23 students. The school principal has 100 pencils. If she gives one to every second grader, how many will she have left? So there's a couple of different ways to figure this out. So one way is to add 30 plus 23 to figure out how many second graders there are in all. So I know that is 53. And I know that the principal will have more than enough to give everyone because 100 is a way bigger number than 53, right? Another way to figure it out would be to take 100 and then subtract 53. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to break up the 50 into a 50 and a 3. And I'm going to do, I know that 100 minus 50 equals 50. Because if I have a quarter and I take away 50, or if I have a dollar and I take away 50 cents, sorry, I'm still asleep. Then I have 50 because I took away half. And then 50 minus 3 equals 47. So she will have 47 pencils left. All right. So the problems that you're going to solve on page 512 and 513 are just like that. So you'll have to stop and think um, which class has more, how many are there in all. And then when you're done, make sure that you also finish page 511. What time is it? And we will check your work tomorrow during morning meeting. All right, super squirrels. Have a great time solving your math problem.